Today I'd like to talk about the Scanco Web Portal and how it pertains to your warehouse users using Scanco Warehouse. When you log in, you'll need a username and a password, which was supplied by Scanco for your company. You can check the Remember Me box so that the next time you visit this web page, it'll automatically log in for you. And once you arrive at our home page, you'll see pieces of information about how your portal settings are set up. Companies, warehouses, how many users you have created. And the next step would be to check your companies. Clicking the link on the top bar where all the links are. Once you're in the companies, you'll see that you have certain companies that are active for the scanner users, and you can limit which companies are allowed to be used by scanners here on the company screen. You also have the ability to create a new company. You'd simply fill in the code for your company that is in your Sage database. And then you enter in a name for it and decide if it's going to be active and hit the create button. Also, you will notice that in the company maintenance screen that there is a link to edit and delete companies there. And if you choose edit, you can change the ERP code or the name. I would not suggest changing the ERP code because that does relate back to your Sage database. All right, so the next tab is our warehouses, and you can see that you have the ability to create a new warehouse if one's not listed, and there may be times where you create a warehouse inside your Sage and then you need to come inside of the Scanco warehouse tab here to create that new warehouse so that you have the ability to use it on the scanner. You can also see that there's enable all. So if you choose enable all, it's going to make all the warehouses listed on your screen active. As you can see, you can be selective about which warehouses are active, and you have the option to edit and delete. If you go into the edit screen, you can change the warehouse code or the name and choose whether it's active or not and hit save. The next process would be to create profiles for your users. You can create as many profiles as you like and add users to those profiles. A user can only reside in one profile at a time. And if you have 3 scanners and you want to have 3 different profiles so that each scanner has its own set of settings, you can do that. So you start off by giving your profile a name and then choosing which companies are going to be allowed for that profile. Choose which warehouses are going to be allowed for that profile. And you'll notice that you have the check all option for both the companies and the warehouses. You can also be more selective about which warehouses the scanners are going to be allowed to use. If you've already created your users, you can add them to the profile now. If you haven't created any users yet, don't worry about that. You are able to assign the users to a profile while you create them. All right, so we'll talk about each individual application and its settings that it allows. Item inquiry, very simple. If you allow item inquiry, you'll have the icon on the scanners for the item inquiry programming. What you will notice is that every one of these tabs has the allow activities, depending on if it's receiving or transfers. You can turn each individual program off or on inside of a profile. Nearly every one of the tabs also has the allow batch checkbox. If you want to add a batch prompt to the scanning process, you can enable it for PO receiving, inventory transactions, and the invoicing and shipping processes as well. Most all the applications have allow scan eaches, and that checkbox will add the scan each button to the bottom row of buttons on your scanning device so that the user has the ability to turn scan each off and on. Scan each is just like at the grocery store. When you set 3 gallons of milk down on the belt, the cashier will drag each one of them across the belt, effectively scanning each gallon to equal a quantity of 1. On the scanning device, with scan each turned on, you will scan the item barcode. You'll see the screen fill in quickly with the item description. The quantity prompt will fill in with the quantity of 1. Return to the item prompt so that the scanner user can scan the next item. That is the scan each feature that you can enable in most all of these tabs. Allow over receipt. If in Sage you are allowed to over receive, you are also allowed to over receive on the scanners. And as you can see, even if Sage users are allowed to over-receive, you are allowed to restrict the scanner users so that they are not allowed to over-receive. Prompt for unresolved lines. We have this for the receiving programs and the invoicing shipping programs and the picking programs. Picking programs are advanced. I'll talk about those in a minute. Prompt for unresolved lines. If you have an order and you receive a quantity of 3, but the quantity ordered was 4, when you press the send button to send your data over to Sage, a message is going to be displayed that the order is short. Do you want to go ahead and send it or finish it up? If you choose to finish it up, the program will take you straight back to the order and allow you to finish collecting the items. Allow miscellaneous items. For PO receiving, you would be able to receive miscellaneous items if you have that checked. Allow multiple users. This is more of an advanced setting. If you allow multiple users to receive an order at the same time, the process is going to be that everyone's working on the order, and it will be the last person that hits the send button that sends everyone's data. Once again, if you have 3 users scanning an order, user 1 hits send. Nothing will happen in receipt of goods. User 2 hits send. Nothing happens. User 3 hits send, and user 1, 2, and 3's data will all be sent at the same time. The last user that presses send will send the data, create the receipt inside of Sage. Allow receiving by item is an advanced application. Most customers don't require this program. If you would like to know more information about receive by item, please contact your Scanco sales representative. Allow receiving by order. If you have that checked, you're going to have the receive by order icon on your scanner. Inventory receipts. These options we just covered on the receiving tab. You can allow that activity to enable the icon on the user screen. Allow batches, allow scan eaches. Inventory transfers, same thing. You can either enable the transfers application or disable it. Allow batch collection, allow scan eaches. Inventory issues, same settings here with an addition of default general ledger account for job cost. If you have the job cost module inside of Sage, the Scanco application will prompt you for a job number, a cost code, and a general ledger account. In most situations, customers always issue items to the same general ledger account, so they will set up a default here on this screen so that every time you arrive at that prompt, it's filled in. You simply press enter. Now, situation is that if you leave this prompt blank on the web portal, the prompt on the scanner will be blank. You can scan in, key in, or look up a general ledger account. In addition, if you do set up a default account, you still have the ability to change it on the scanner. The prompt will fill in with whatever's listed here, but you do still have the ability to do the lookup to pick any general ledger account or scan it in or key it in. Moving on to inventory adjustments. This is an advanced application. If you are interested, please contact your Scanco sales representative. Alias item. Simple allow activity. This will enable the icon on your scanning device so that you can create alias item numbers. Physical count. All right, it's a popular program. And as you can see, we have many options here regarding how the scanner processes whether you have items frozen inside Sage or not. Normal process would be to freeze your warehouse and then start scanning. If that is your typical situation, you will probably leave freeze file not required and allow add item to freeze unchecked. If both those options are unchecked, your items do have to be frozen before you scan them. If you scan an item that is not frozen, you will receive a message that it's not frozen, and you'll have an OK button. You will not be able to collect information regarding that item until it is frozen within Sage. If you check allow add item to freeze, when you scan an item and it's not in your freeze file, you will receive a message on the scanner that the item is not frozen. Do you want to add it to the freeze file? And you'll have a yes and a no button. If you choose yes, you'll be able to move forward and collect the information. If you check freeze file not required, the scanner program is not going to check to see if the item is frozen. It is simply going to move to the quantity prompt and collect the information for that item. This is a nice feature when you don't want to freeze your items first. Allow scan eaches there at the bottom is also an option that we've discussed already. Moving on to invoicing, you have the allow activity, prompt for unresolved lines, just as in PO receiving. It will prompt you if the order is short and allow you to finish. Allow batches, allow scan eaches. Same functions we've discussed. Sales order shipping. All right, so we have the allow activity, allow batches, allow scan each, prompt for unresolved lines. Once again, we have allow multiple users per order. More of an advanced function. Once again, it is the last person that hits send that sends all the records through to create the invoice or the shipping record. Allow overshipments. If you allow overshipments inside of Sage, you can also allow it or disallow it on the scanner. Allow ship complete. That is an advanced application. If you're interested, please contact your Scanco sales representative. Sales order picking. This is advanced programming. Scanco sales representative can inform you about these programs. As you can see, you have the allow picking activities. And if that's checked, you can choose individual applications that you wish to have. Maybe you'd like to do wave picking, but not order picking. Maybe you'd only like to have quick pick. So you have the ability to enable certain icons within this profile. Wave picking allows you to punch in multiple orders and directs you through the warehouse once to get all those orders. Order picking is a directed application as well. You put in the order number and it walks you through the warehouse by bin number to get all the items for the order. Now, regarding the directed picking applications, you will see that there is an ascending pick sequence checkbox here. What that does is, with it checked, it will walk you through from the lowest bin number to the highest bin number, from bin A to bin Z. If it's unchecked, it would be reversed. You'd go from bin Z to bin A. This feature is handy depending on how your warehouse is laid out. An additional application we have called Quick Pick is a free-form, non-directed picking application. You punch in your order number, and it allows you to scan items and validates that those items are on the order. The ship picked and invoice picked applications will take all the items that you have picked and send them to a shipping record inside of Sage and shipping data entry, or an invoice will be created. Ship pick creates a shipping record, invoice picked creates an invoice. Once again, you have the prompt for unresolved lines. We've discussed that already. And allow overpicks. Basically, it's like overship, but in this process, you're picking items to be shipped, so whether you allow that or not can be chosen here. Bill of materials is an advanced application. If you have it checked, you'll have the bill of materials icon on your scanner, and all the settings within the Scanco program will follow your bill of materials setup options within inside of Sage. Pallet applications require that you have ACSG multi-bin with the pallet programming that they provide. As you can see, you can allow pallet activities and then choose which activities you want. We have pallet assembly and pallet bin transfers. Permitted lookups tab. At the bottom of each prompt, you have a lookup. Looks like a magnifying glass. And if you would choose to not have that lookup, you simply uncheck it here. If you uncheck the item number lookup, that forces the user to scan the item each time. They could key it in as well, but there will be no lookup, giving them the option to choose the wrong item. Batch number, if you don't want them to look up an existing batch number, you always want them to key one in, you just simply uncheck it here. And the rest of those are pretty much self-explanatory. And after you have the multiple profiles created, you will come back out and see your profiles listed here. And you still have the ability to edit those profiles or create new ones. All right, so we'll move on to talking about creating the users. Creating a user, you click the Create New, and this gives you the ability to put the name in on the first line. So their name might be John, and a 3-digit user ID is what they will use on the scanner at the user ID prompt. Punch in any 3 characters there that you'd like, maybe last 3 of their social or their initials. Password, you'll have to type that in once and then type it in again for the confirm process. The web portal will let you know if you type it in wrong on the second try. The default company. For each user, when you choose a default company, after they put in their username and password during the login process on the scanner, the screen will fill in with whatever you have chosen here for their default company. Many of the applications have a warehouse prompt. You can choose a default warehouse that will fill in on the application for the user. The profile, you will assign each user to one profile here on this screen. And then simply choose whether they're active or not. and hit the create button. Once you're back at your list, you'll see all your users, and you will have the ability to edit the user, reset their passwords, or delete them. That covers all the web portal settings for Scanco Warehouse applications. Thank you, and have a good day.